Hello, everybody. Welcome into the NBA Front Office Show. Great night last night around the league. 10 games, and we went live for Front Office Show overtime last night, breaking them all down. That was a lot of fun. Thanks to everybody who joined us for that. If you didn't join us, make sure you keep a lookout for the next one that we're going to do. We'll do it a few times a week, break down all the NBA action that happens in that particular evening. Today, we've got a lot of news to get into, a little bit of fallout from these games as well. I'm Trevor Lane. Make sure you do subscribe right here to the NBA Front Office Show, joined by Keith Smith. Keith, I am tired today after last night. I'll tell you what, it's great having the NBA back. It's a little bit like drinking from the fire hose. I'm starting to see today like all this analysis going around about all these different teams, and I'm like, oh, I didn't see that. Oh, I didn't, because last night was the first night where it was actually impossible to watch all of the NBA basketball that was on. And so I feel like I'm playing catch up, trying to scramble and catch back up in all the games and stuff that I missed.
Yeah, I hear you. It was I was trying to keep tabs on as much as I could live throughout the course of the night, and then when I woke up this morning, I queued up the handful of games that were interesting that I wanted to see, or the parts of games that I wanted to see, like the Orlando Miami game. I did not watch the whole of it. That was a blowout. I definitely did not spend a ton of time on the Warriors Blazers game because that was also a blowout. But yeah, it was a fun night, man. It's the drinking from the fire hose is the perfect analogy. That's exactly what it feels like. Was like it was just after months. It'd be like rolling up on a oasis and then just being like, "Here's the ocean. Good luck. You wanted water. Here it is." So that's what it felt like after months with nothing, and then we are there. And yeah, front office overtime with overtime. That was cool. Thanks to the NBA
Right.
for caring about us enough to match the branding there. But we had a lot of fun. It was great. It was hopefully as it evolves, we'll get more people being even more active in there and guiding the conversation even more about their teams and stuff. But it was a great time. Good time with that. It's Thursday, so as I've had to look at the calendar like 28 times to remind
Me too.
myself. So that means front office Friday tomorrow. We'll be doing our regular afternoon Friday live show. We'll have a lot of fun with that too. So make sure you're subscribing and turning on your notifications so you know whenever we go live.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Subscribe, turn on those notifications, and I guess let's get to it. Let's get to the news today. Um, we'll start with the negatives. The opening night injuries. I mean, I guess let's go to Dejounte Murray first. Broken hand. He's going to miss time.
Yep.
I mean, the newest, the big acquisition of the offseason for the Pelicans, they didn't even have Zion out there, so we didn't even get to see like Dejounte out there with Zion, who was out due to illness. The Pelicans kind of have to revert back to what they were last year with CJ McCollum at the one now. So it's frustrating, Keith. I wish somebody would finally remember to turn the slider off, to shut off injuries, so we don't have stuff like this being a downer on the NBA season.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. We had so many injuries in the preseason, and now these ones hitting with Murray. This probably, I'm going to guess, somewhere in the 4 to 6 week range. That generally tends to be, as I was looking around at the folks who really track these injury things, that's usually what the absence is. We did see Chris Paul a couple years ago broke his non-shooting hand. It did return slightly quicker, but it's obviously for a point guard, it's you got to kind of be able to handle the ball with both hands to be successful at that position. And then for the Pelicans, Trey Murphy's also still out. So now you're in this spot where we spent so much time talking about how are they going to play everybody, these 6 guys, and none of them are center and all that. And it's like the basketball gods are like, oh, we'll solve it in the most cruel way possible. We'll just take 2 of them away and to play the other 4 and put a center in there. So, hopefully Zion's thing was not an injury. That was an illness. I think they said he's got the flu. So hopefully he'll be out there. I think they play again tomorrow. So yeah, but just, not how you want to start the year with that one. The other ones we're still waiting for more details on. The one that looked the worst of the bunch was James Wiseman. Non-contact play. He was at midcourt, turning around to run the other way on defense, and he did the classic step, turned around like someone kicked him, and then just went to the ground, and then limped off after that. That's kind of the classic mechanism for a torn Achilles. We're hoping not. The Pacers said it's a calf injury. That's usually what you call it initially, and then as they do more checks and imaging and the stuff. So let's hope it's just a calf injury.
I hope so.
That'd be great, right? That'd be an outstanding outcome for this. It might cost him, a month of action or something, but it did not look good for Wiseman.
Yeah, that's always scary when you see no contact, and when they turn, like you said, when you turn around and they think they got kicked, that's usually an Achilles. So hopefully that's not what it is, and it is just a calf thing, and that's what's going on. But again, waiting for word on that. I mean, just a number of things around the NBA where we saw injuries popping up. Emmanuel, quickly, I just now saw the notification that he did not practice today for the Raptors. He was dealing with an injury. Again, we're waiting for more details on how serious these injuries are, but a number of guys got banged up in last night's games. Yes, Brandon Miller, another one that we're waiting on. Had a great dunk and then got hurt dealing with a hip issue. So
and he tried to come back. He was in the tunnel, stretching it out, riding the bike, doing everything, and just then they eventually said, you're done, because he did get back out there and he was not moving well. So I mean, and those are Wiseman less so than the other three, but those other three guys, quickly, Miller and Murray, key guys for their teams. Maybe not the best player on their teams, but second best, third best, somewhere in that range. And that's brutal, for those teams to be without those guys. In Toronto, holy crap, I think they're playing Philly. Like, that might be like Scotty Barnes and Tyrese Maxey just play 1-on-1 to 21 and call it done, because who knows who else is going to be available for those teams. There's so many guys out on both sides, because it sounds like Embiid and Paul George practiced, went through some live stuff today too, which is good news. But all Nick Nurse said was they look like they're improving, and then left it at that, but not expected to play tomorrow either.
Nope. Yeah, that was a downer. Especially for that to be the nationally televised game. Like, that was supposed to be the big matchup of the night. And no Embiid, no Paul George. And we've got some big games coming up tonight too, Keith. Some that I'm really, we've got a few teams that have not played games yet. This will be their season opener. I can't wait for OKC, Denver, Minnesota, Sacramento, San Antonio, Dallas. I'll be honest, I'm not trying to take a shot at the Celtics, but watching a matchup against the Wizards is just not that compelling.
Can you imagine being the Wizards fans? Like,
right?
Man, we had to wait.
Like, what did we do?
We wait, and then it's like, cool, you gave us the Celtics, who just destroyed the Knicks by 1 million on opening night. Cool. Thanks for that. We really appreciate you, NBA, for, allowing us to wait 2 days to open. And then, we're probably going to get kicked in the head. So it's just, but it's opening night. It's a lot of fun, but that Thunder Nuggets game, like that's the one for me. But those other two are great too. Wolves, Kings, and Mavs, Spurs. Like, it's going to be a good night. And semi-decent stagger too of games. Like Celtics Wizards start a little earlier, and with that, so at least we'll be able to consume a little bit more reasonable amounts of basketball tonight without just having it like a data dump into our brains.
What do you prefer? Do you prefer like last night, where we have 10 games and it's like you just need a wall of TVs in order to take it all in, and at any given moment you can turn on a number of different possible games? Or do you like it like tonight, where you've got 3-4 games, but most of them are marquee matchups, and you can just focus in on that one or two, maybe you go back and forth particular game?
Yeah, tonight it's just easier. Now tomorrow, I wish it was like last night, because tomorrow, like, I'm gonna be like, well, I saw all of this already. Like, there's not, so maybe a little more, maybe like a couple more games. Then it'd be like, all right, I'll stock those up for the morning, on Friday morning. But in general, I like tonight, because you can just kind of flip back and forth, or you can really second screen and have two up, and you can generally pay attention quite a bit to two games at once. So I'll definitely be doing that. I've got the iPad right here next to me, so that'll be up with the TV screen, and I'll be watching. And it's in case anybody's wondering, it's probably going to be the Celtics Wizards on the second screen. I'll probably have Mavs Spurs on the main TV, and while watching that, it's just a matter of competitiveness and more interest in that at this point. But I will be watching the Celtics game quite a bit as well.
You know what it is, Keith? It's Pizza by Alfredo versus Alfredo's Pizza Cafe.
I love it.
That's what this is. It's do you want a lot of pretty good pizza, or do you want a medium amount of really good pizza. I don't actually remember which is which. Which was the one? I'm quoting The Office, by the way, for anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah, I don't remember which one was the good one.
Which
I
one of
know
them
he
was the good
ordered
one?
the bad one.
He ordered the
Like, I
bad
do
one.
know
Yeah,
that,
whichever one
but
it
I don't
was.
remember which one it was. I do know though, Pizza by Alfredo is like the name of a pizza place in Scranton. Like it's like a real name. Now I don't know if it existed before the show or if that came in after the show, but there is a Pizza by Alfredo in Scranton. If you look it up on Google Maps, you can see it.
If it didn't exist before the show, it's genius whoever opened it
Yeah,
after the show.
100%. Yeah.
After,
Yeah.
right.
And they should intentionally, if that was the bad one, serve bad pizza. Like,
No,
even let's face it,
make it the good one. Make the name the good
true.
one and go that way.
But even bad pizza is generally pretty good. So
it is hard
that's at least
to make pizza bad.
Yeah. It's pretty rough to screw up sauce, cheese, and bread. But
right,
people, if we don't, God will,
it's happened.
Yeah, if Celtics Lakers fights in our show comments don't derail the show for life, pizza fight will probably be what ends it because that's people get passionate about pizza. So we should probably
people get angry and delicious. No pineapple, please. Okay, let's go here. Jalen Green, according to Brian Windhorst of ESPN on the Hoop Collective, said that this is a contract that a lot of people in the league think was signed for the option to be traded, and getting the 10% trade kicker in there. To me, I'm not saying the Rockets are definitely going to trade him. I'm just saying the contract was designed to allow him to be traded. Do you agree with that? Because we looked at the contract and we're a little skeptical of the Rockets side of it just because it's so short term. It limits the potential upside of the deal. Do you think this is a contract meant to be traded?
I don't know, meant to, but it definitely could be. I think the short-term nature of it for a very still uncertain player, we don't really know what Jalen Green is going to be yet. So the short-term nature of it, if you're going to acquire him, covers you a little bit from that standpoint. And then I think after that, it's the number being not a max. Like I get it. 33 million next season's a ton of money, but it's not a max. It's well short of a max deal. So yeah, I mean, could be. Like, it wouldn't shock me if that is it. I will say this, because after that came out, a couple people asked a question on Twitter, like, do you think they're going to trade him this year? That's very hard to do because that becomes poison pilled. So he'll count at the 12.5 million for the Rockets side of the trade is outgoing, but the incoming salary, I want to say the average of all the years is like 29 million. And that difference of like 17 million is just really hard to balance out in a trade. That's where you got to involve a third team or a team with exceptions, team with cap space. That's only the Pistons right now to facilitate. So I'm not sold that anything happens this year. I don't think it would, but next year, yeah, maybe, certainly possible.
Yeah. And so something to keep an eye on here as the Rockets. Again, we think despite their surprising loss to the Hornets, the Rockets, the arrow is pointing up for them. You can't drop many games in the Western Conference to teams that you should beat. So there'll be certainly a team to keep an eye on. That's not a great way to start their season, but this is a talented young team. And if they ultimately decide that, hey, it's, Reed Shepherd and Fred VanVleet in the backcourt is the way that we want to go and not Jalen Green, maybe we do see a move here. The bottom line is I think they've got some flexibility, and that's oftentimes something that's coveted by NBA general managers, to feel like you're not locked into any specific thing, particularly when you're not sure what that thing is just yet.
Yeah, and let's remember too, this is a team that has other roster decisions coming. You're going to have extensions for Jabari Smith Jr. and Tari Eason next summer. You've got Fred VanVleet's situation. I think Fred VanVleet's team option that the Rockets hold for almost $45 million. I think that'll play out very similar to what happened with Rudy Gobert, except rather than the player declining it, I think VanVleet will decline, or the team rather will decline that option on VanVleet, but then sign him to 390, 300 and spread that money out a little bit more, give him a little more guaranteed money down the line as he heads into his post prime years in his mid 30s. So that'll be there. So yeah, you want to be able to keep contracts in that very tradable range. And I think Jalen Green's falls in there. And just for anybody wondering, they get the Grizzlies tomorrow night. So a little hard to call like game 2 of 82 like a must
That's
win,
tough.
but it's kind of a big game for them, right? And they're home again. So you certainly don't want to drop games at home. Grizzlies are a team I think they maybe fancy themselves as being on par with. So you want to try to make sure you get one and get in the win column.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on here to Ausar Thompson waiting on clearance, had that blood clotting issue. Keith, the NBA's fitness to play panel, where are they at? Where are these guys? Because it's not just Lakers fans have been up in arms waiting for some sort of word on Christian Coloco. Ausar Thompson, same thing, blood clotting issue, waiting on word. This is the kind of thing, on one hand, I understand this is the kind of thing you got to be careful with.
Yeah.
You got to be, if you're the NBA and you're going to be liable for this decision, you got to be 100% sure. Because, I mean, you blow this decision and it could mean death for somebody. Like, that's just the reality of that's how serious blood clots are. On the flip side, though, these teams would like to know what's going on. Is this player going to be available or not? So Ausar Thompson still waiting on clearance from the NBA's fitness to play panel. It's still no real sense of a timeline here, right?
Yeah, and they don't give timelines. Like that's not something, because of what you said. It's the seriousness of this is they're like, it's when we feel they're ready, we will clear them. And that's it. Let me rephrase, when and if we feel they're ready, because there's never a guarantee. We obviously hope with both Thompson and Coloco, very young men, let's hope they can get cleared, resume their careers, and go bright futures for both of them in basketball for sure. So, but that's all it is. It's the NBA says, we're going to get this right. Now, both guys are going through some level of workouts with the teams. That's seems to be a little nebulous of what that means, but neither guy, by all reporting out of Detroit and LA, no like recurrence of any issues. No, nothing has happened. Like they both seem healthy and ready to go. So I'm just going to say, I hope it's sooner rather than later. And then whatever short amount of ramp up period these two guys need and get them back on the court. But yeah, this one came out. This was where I saw it from was Omari Sankofa, who works for the Detroit Free Press, covering the Pistons as their beat writer. He's Bryce's podcast partner on the Pistons Pulse. He was the one who had the reporting on it. Like, yeah, it's still, because his designation is like return to competition conditioning or whatever the heck terminology it is they use. And he's like that. He goes, but really the reality is he hasn't been cleared yet. So like that's like, it's not a matter of, he needs all this ramp up time. I think it's going to be, he's cleared and it's probably going to be within a game or two at most before he plays. And I've been getting the same feeling on Coloco too, that these guys are, they're just literally waiting to be cleared. So let's hope it comes soon.
Yeah, that was the terminology the Lakers used, return to play reconditioning. And everybody went, oh, that doesn't say waiting for clearance. Does that mean they're cleared? But no, apparently that is not the case there. That's just, for whatever reason, rather than say we're still waiting on the fitness to play panel, they wanted to say reconditioning for return to play. So that's the way they went. All right, let's go here. The wall, the Clippers wall. Apparently
it seems to work.
It did make a difference. Kevin Durant said it caused him to miss some free throws. It was pretty impressive seeing it. The Clippers did lose last night in overtime to the Phoenix Suns. But the wall in the new Intuit Dome arena, it was pretty cool. And they did have the fans rocking there right behind the basket.
Yeah, and I didn't realize until reading more about it, the first 13 rows, if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, in the Clippers' new arena on the one end, there's 51 rows that the way they're slanted, it goes like very steep up the way it goes, which is designed to push the noise down there.
So, I've got the clip. Let me show everybody.
This could be good.
Here it is.
It's definitely a different look than anything you are going to see in an NBA arena of what that end looks like. And clearly, road teams are going to be shooting into that in the second half every night.
So there it is.
The first 13 of those 51 rows are like screened fans that are first come, first serve. They, in their deal, they have to stand the entire game. So it's like a supporter section at a soccer stadium where you're going to stand. And there's been a lot of talk of like they want to do some organized cheers and chants and all that stuff. So pretty cool. But what hit me was Kevin Durant and Devin Booker both were like, yeah, it threw me off. Like when I went to shoot my free throws, Devin Booker's like, I missed one and it pissed me off. And it was like they distracted me. And Kevin Durant was like, yeah. And their goal was they wanted to be like a European soccer supporter section or like a college student section. Behind the basket. And that's going to be out. What I am going to be very curious about, the visiting team picks the direction they go at the start of the game. So they decide which hoop they shoot at first. How many visiting teams are going to come in and be like, yeah, well, let's switch it up and do it the other way. Most I think we're at right now, we're at like around 70% want their defense in front of them, like in front of them on that bench, just because they feel like there's more communication to be done. There's a handful of coaches, Brad Stevens was one, and then Greg Popovich coaching tree, that prefer to have their offense in front of them in the second half. So it's just going to be a nice little strategic wrinkle to see if this actually impacts those decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that if you're an opposing team, you would want that in the first half. And then because you don't want to the pressure already of late in a game, a fourth quarter, like last night, an overtime game, you don't want that pressure being compounded by shooting into those fans. And then because the away team gets to pick the direction, I guess that takes away from some of the impact of it, because that's when you really want it is late in a game. And so you don't get to have that. But you're right, though. It'll be interesting to see what teams do choose. Again, if I'm an opposing team, I just pick to have that wall, to be shooting at that wall in the first half and not the second. But again, it's kind of a cool feature that they added in, and I do like the kind of the soccer style vibe that it creates. That's always a fun thing. I'm waiting for it takes away the fans' ability to see, but I'm waiting for them to unfurl the big banner, the flag, or whatever that they're gonna.
They had one. I had tip off. They had a big
it
said "Welcome home, Clipper fans," and it was a bit, but it was only out for tip off. Like they all held it over their heads, and then it presumably
they wanted to see the game.
Staff came and picked it all up and pulled it. But I mean, it's neat. And I guess the video board, I knew several people were at the game, both media, and then a couple people went as fans of the game, and they're like the video board is unreal. They did this big video board that it's like a circle around the court, and you can see it from both sides. So even if you're sitting on the floor, you watch it on the inside of the ring, and then everybody else sees it from the outside and stuff. So apparently it was really cool. And they do this stormy seas thing at the start of the second half, which is like rough waters ahead. It reminds me of like Pirates of the Caribbean or something. And then you have the Clipper ship is sails through it with we'll be able to get through. But hey, man, I'm all for teams doing stuff. I've said it before. My favorite arena, just from a design, is I think it's called Gamebridge Fieldhouse. I might be completely wrong on that. In Indiana, where the Pacers play. It is. That's what they do in Indiana, right? So they built. It feels like a high school gym, but just blown out size-wise. And it's so cool. And there's windows and lighting and all sorts of stuff that comes into play there in Indiana. That's my favorite, but I haven't seen the new Clippers arena. I'm hoping to get there either later this year or next year to see a game. So
the whole, leaning into the Clipper thing, the ship thing, I think that's smart by them, because for years there, a lot of people would, what's a Clipper? Are we talking about paper clips? What are we talking about here? People didn't know, they lost all the association with an actual ship. And so leaning into that, even if it is a little Pirates of the Caribbean-esque, that's fine. I thought their logo is a little too Royal Caribbean-esque, but nonetheless, I like that they're leaning into the whole Clipper thing there. And then the idea of having, the video presentation and stuff, it reminds me a little bit of like a hockey game. And I think the NHL does a fantastic job to make the live game atmosphere absolutely amazing. And so more of that in the NBA. Let's go. So I like what the Clippers are doing out there right now.
Yeah,
cool.
completely agree. Yeah. All right. So a little more aesthetic stuff to close out the show.
Yep.
We've got the NBA Cup courts. Those were released today. So we've got them up here. We know the image is a little small. I pulled this from the Athletic. I had all 30 teams in there. The big difference is no runway this time on these.
Yeah.
So we could let's maybe this one. Yeah, there we go. Right? Can we see them all?
Yeah, we could see them all. I
Okay.
was just trying to enlarge them by having
Yeah.
us
Oh, got it. Yeah. Well, maybe do we just do this? There we go. No one needs to see us.
No,
right?
nobody needs to see us.
So,
That's even better.
Yeah.
This is just how we should do the show.
Probably, but that's how we'll get to 35,000 followers. Remember, if we do that, subscribers, we're gonna wear Halloween costumes. So
That's
you've got a week. Get it done, folks. We're getting closer, but we're like creeping there. So no Halloween pun intended. We get it. The image is a little small. Big thing you can tell though, difference is no runway this time. There was that like runway from paint to paint. This time around, it's these like circles there of various shades of the team's primary colors. I'll tell you right now, I prefer this far more than last year.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I'm a little disappointed they stuck with the red courts.
Yes.
Because those got a ton of complaints last year. They did not look good on TV. And then people who are red-green colorblind were like, I can't see. Like, I can't like make stuff out. So that part I think is a little disappointing. But yeah, I mean, I think they're kind of cool. Like the Celtics one, for example, it's a little hard to see on the screen here. But corner. If you look at it, it's got like a little parquet thing. Mm-hmm. They very famously were mad, right? They were like, we want a parquet floor. And they were like, no, last year it's going to be what it is. But that one's pretty cool. I think the Lakers and the Knicks have the skylines of their cities in them, which I know that's like been a big talk about the Lakers one. So that's pretty neat too. But all around, I think I like these better than I did a year ago.
Yeah, I do as well. On these, I still think some of them are a bit bright.
Yeah.
Maybe going a little bit overboard to drive home the point that it's something different. I don't know if they need to go quite this far, but it's an improvement. It's definitely an improvement. I think it's better than what we saw last season. I'm trying to pick out like which one I think is my favorite. Keith, I can't even tell which one it is. What is that the Wolves in the upper left corner with the lime green?
Yeah, Minnesota, yeah.
That's Minnesota. That I don't know how that shade of green is going to look covering the whole court.
It's a bit much. Then I don't know if you could tell, but at the bottom, it's like the forest.
Like that's cool.
The shading is that
kind of like they do in Oregon.
Yeah.
I dig the Sixers one with the stars around the circle. That's really cool.
Yep.
That's cool. I like that one. But yeah, you're right. The red, I have a feeling, can be kind of an overpowering red, especially that one in the bottom right corner. I believe that's Washington.
Yeah, that with the like reddish and pink.
The reddish and pink. I wonder how loud that's going to be. I think the grays are kind of cool. Like I think
the gray ones are good because they like team in the trophy. Or the NBA
really
Cup,
pop.
Like, really pop. Yeah, the Jazz one looks like they just
the mountains.
Forgot to click fill with the color on the Jazz note. It looks like somebody just forgot to fill it in. But that's it's fine. Jazz they're obviously rebranding and going into their new uniforms next season with that. So Hornets one is fun.
Detail on the Jazz one.
Yeah, I do like that.
I love
behind
that.
them. Yeah, behind it. Yep. Yeah, the Hornets one is good. It's got the honeycomb shading, and then they're leaning heavily into the teal. And the Raptors, like we talked about last night, their uniforms look great. If nothing on the court looked very good, that they did as a basketball team, at least they looked good in uniforms. They're leaning into the kind of old school Raptors purple, which is fun.
That's excellent. And then I love Memphis. They've got the vertical lines and the horizontal lines to spell out MEM for Memphis. That's really cool. Which one's your least favorite?
That's a good question. Probably Atlanta's. Like I don't. There's just kind of yellow. Like I don't know. Yeah, I don't really. That's probably that one.
I was looking at that one too. It's just yellow, and I think there's probably some detail in it that we just can't see on this or whatever, but yeah, it does look just kind of overpoweringly yellow, and
Phoenix's
that's
is
kind
kind
of
of bland too. Like
I like that it's got the PHX at least.
Yeah, that
in
part
there,
I do
but
like. Yeah,
but it is, yeah, Phoenix's. Yeah, this. I mean, I kind of
Dallas
like
is
the
also
Bucks
has the
one.
skyline too.
I'm
Yeah, the
assuming
Bucks one's kind of neat.
is that antlers that they've got coming out of the key? Is that what that is? That's cool.
Yep. Yeah,
That's really cool. I like that one.
I like
overall,
Denver's because I like the contrast between the yellow and the like maroon around the court, like that kind of pop. So yeah, most of these I'm okay with. Like I like them all. I like every single one of them more than I liked any of them last.
Yes.
Like I did not like the
Yeah.
runway down the middle. It was too much. It just I don't know. It's just way too gaudy.
Keith, I think for Chicago they have to be careful what jersey they wear with that one, and who their opponent is too. Yep. Like that's going to matter with that. Really, with all the red courts, that's going to be a factor. But that's the one, and we saw it last year where the red, the players can kind of disappear depending on what color they're wearing.
And let's hope that all of the 3-point lines are the same on both ends and the accurate distance with that. So
that'd be nice.
It's the
little things.
Kind of the idea, right, behind it. So yeah, but there it is. There's the courts. So we just wanted to show you guys those. You can look them up, find them. Their teams have been tweeting them out too. All day long on their team accounts. If you're interested, what your teams look like there, and that gets started a couple weeks. There's like a couple weeks of regular games, and then the NBA Cup games get started. I liked it. I liked the NBA Cup last year.
I did too.
I think it's fun. I thought it was really cool watching the starting five show. How all of the players, I don't know if they were told to by the NBA to say this or not, but all of them like, yeah, they actually did add more competition. Like it was actually LeBron who said it. He's like, yeah, the early season could be kind of hard to get up for and care about the same way. And he goes, this really did get you kind of fired up and going. But all the other four guys all talked about it too. Like we want to win it. Do you remember what I said all along about it?
If the players are in, you're in.
You put something to win in front of competitive people, they're gonna want to win it. Like that's just the reality of it. Like that's why they pushed and everybody did, try. Some of the teams stink and they're bad, and that's just the reality of life with it.
Well, and I think part of it too is when we're looking at a situation like this, the fact that they got that LeBron bought in, right? Like that matters. And we even saw it during the bubble. Right. That was all the talk about whether or not they would resume play. Basically, all the guys in the room all just kind of looked at LeBron and they're like, well, whatever LeBron's going to do, we're going to do. They got LeBron bought in, as well as a number of other kind of like high profile players around the league. And once you get that, everybody else is going to follow. Once everybody goes, oh, okay, LeBron's into this, we're going to be into this too. Like that matters. I thought the competitive nature of those games was very, very high. I thought we got, not for every team, but for a lot of teams, it was at least not in terms of quality, but intensity, playoff intensity basketball in November. And so, I love it. So I'll take that for sure. And I'm looking forward to the tournament again this season.
Completely agree. Yeah, I think it's there's stuff, and they're going to keep tweaking it. The NBA is nothing if not good at creating an idea and then continuing to tweak and adjust, tweak and adjust until it gets to something we all like. I mean, I remember everybody's kind of like, all right, fine, the bubble year, the playing tournament. It's like, we get why it's a thing, should be a thing here because everybody's playing odd amounts of games. It's going to be weird. And then it was so good that they were like, let's just make this a thing. And it's now it's been awesome. Like I love the playing tournament. Like I think it's great. I mean, I get it. It's generally to do a couple teams that, we think we'll probably get popped, but we already saw teams make runs from the playing tournament. Miami and LA both made runs from it. So it's, that gives you a chance to get in. Fine. I still think there should be a qualifier. I don't want the 10th seed if they're 10 games back. Like, no, they should not get lucky for a couple games and make the playoffs when they have no business. But if it's like the West this year and, 10 and 11 are going to be separated by a game, and 9 and 10 are going to be separated by a game, and 8, 9 by a game. Like, yeah, I'm cool with the play-in tournament then. Give those teams a chance. And
For sure.
like with most things, if you don't like it, well, then win more games and don't be part of it. Like, that's, it's kind of that simple. Like it really is, like, but.
And it's made sense for the NBA big picture in terms of just their overall goal, increasing fan engagement with the product. And that's, you're now, if you're the 11 seed and it's December, you're not just going up, that's it, our season's over, and call me again in October. No, now you're, hey, we're the 11 seed right now, but we move up one spot and we're in the play-in, and then who knows, right? And you can make a run. So it's going to keep you, hey, January, February, it makes it you're more bought in to what your team's doing. And that's the whole goal of it. So
yeah, especially if you're a team that's
successful.
Like early season was ruined by injuries, right? Then it's like, all right, we're not completely out of this thing. We can still make a run. But yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna do it for us here today. There's it's opening night, so it was a lot. And we did give you an hour last night live on that, so you can go back and watch the replay of that. But again, subscribe, turn on your notifications. We'll try to let you know on Twitter and social media when we're going to do an overtime night, just so that way you can be prepped and prepared for it. But it was a lot of fun. Just like these shows are a lot of fun. We're having a blast, man. It's season is we're in it now. It's Let's off go. And running. We're going. I was so happy this morning when I was like, there's box scores and video to watch, and so much stuff. Like I was in my happy place all morning long. It was great.
Awesome. It's a great time of year. Thank you everybody for joining. Make sure you do subscribe right here to the channel. We'll be back tomorrow for Front Office Friday live. So see you then. But that's not my sign off. Come on.
No, come on. Do it right.
See you and stay safe. Okay, there we go. That's how tired I am, Keith. That's how tired I am. I can't even do my own sign off. See you and stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow.